Okay, now I am going to tell about the 10 reasons why living alone can be good for you. Why living alone can be good for you. For uninitiated, it can take some getting used to, but living alone can be one of the most liberating experiences life has to offer. From developing a stronger sense of from and can be one of the most liberating experiences life has to offer, from developing a stronger sense of independence to living a life completely on your own terms. Solo life has something to offer everyone. If you are living alone for the first time or seasoned in living solo and need for confident boost, or even if you are living alone and loving it and like to be reminded, well, why not? Here are 10 reasons why living alone can be good for you. First is you can please yourself. Often what's described here is listed separately, but you we have banded them together as one. Things like having control of the remote, walking around naked, eating cereal whenever you want, and doing the hoving at 10 p.m. all fall under this broad category of the solo living experience. Of course, this isn't an exclusive list, but you get the gist, which is you can pretty much please yourself. There is nothing wrong in doing so, and underestimating the joy to be gained from simple pleasures is a no no. With the ability to please yourself comes the opportunity to prioritize your own self care. It is often the case that many people who live solo feel a little guilty about being able to do so at a time when often sometimes self-worth is dedicated by how many plates they are spinning and indeed their lack of time. It is easy to see why those of us with the power to do what we want when we want to when we want to a degree don't shout about the fact that we can put ourselves at the tip of the list. We are here to remind you self care is not selfish, and together, hopefully, we can shift the perspective that being able to use time as you wish is positive and not something that you should hide away. You are in control. Broadly similar to the first point, we are talking here about mere profound things rather than choosing whether or not you eat pasta in your pants or drink milk from the carton. Being in control when living alone means you get to make all the big decisions. When it comes to what you do, okay, being in control when living alone means you get to make all the big decisions that directly affect your destiny. When it comes to what you do, who you socialize with, and when you choose to do the things that you are passionate about, all of this and more is under your control and for you to make decisions upon within without judgment, compromise, or justification. Okay, there is a view living alone means you are automatically missing out on something, a connection with another person, or being able to share difficult decisions with someone else. We have explored this in a previous article asking whether or not a single life is a phase or lifestyle choice for you. This does not necessarily mean that those who chose to live with another person are in any less control than as solo livers. Still, there is something rather empowering about thinking, making decisions about your lifestyle and choosing the direction you want your life to go in without too much influence from others. Embrace life with your whole mind. Sometimes discussing the benefits of solo living can be light-hearted. The reason for the list of small joys mentioned in point one of our list, but those of us living alone by choice or who have grown to enjoy living alone are likely to recognize this reason more readily. Thinking, feeling, and truly living alone is much more about embracing this life and being fully immersed in it, allowing you to be completely present in mind and body. Living alone gives you the opportunity to explore your true self and developing a sense of being comfortable in your own skin. This might be the simple act of being comfortable in your own company or being able to spot what triggers negative feelings and, most importantly, what you can do to counteract them. Knowing who you really are, being content with that person, and having confidence in our own values and boundaries ultimately improves our well being, but also the way we also present ourselves to people around us. Home is where the heart is. When it comes to living alone, you can really but grow to appreciate your living space, your home, and thus your personal space. With busy lives, it can be hard to appreciate our surroundings. Living alone and working towards it successfully can help you become more attuned to your space. You are able to mold it precisely the way you imagine. Even if your home is a work in progress right now, it is your own, and you are totally in charge of it. If you are sitting reading this thinking you have already decorated recently, you might find some more inspiration for keeping busy around the house. In our home is where the heart is article. Working from home has started to become more popular. This can be great as it reduces commuting time, and for many people, the lack of office distraction increases their productivity. However, there is a downside for every upside, and working from home can make the boundaries of work life balance blurry. This can be more of an issue for solos working from home because without another person wanting their attention, they might easily work past their usual hours. When the office is your sofa, it can become challenging to know when it's time to switch on and off from work mode. If you don't have a home office, some minor changes can go a long way to making it feel less likely you're working and living from the same spot every day. Try the simple trick of creating an area of your home set up purely to work from, a defined space where you work and where the rest of your home is for you to relax and switch off from the laptop. Find fulfillment. Fulfillment comes from working hard towards something you need. For example, for some people, living alone is what they need, and so when it happens, they feel at peace with their situation themselves. This doesn't mean it comes easily or naturally to people to start with. Some people regard living on your own as somehow less of a lifestyle choice than living with someone else. You could be in a miserable and unfulfilling relationship, but at least you are not alone, huh? The steps to be comfortable living solo can take time for those who need time to quieten the critical voices about being happy, safe, or lonely if you choose to live by yourself. Often, the conversations around finding empowerment through living alone comes from the female perspective. Perhaps because women are seen as more vulnerable than men, there is an added layer of risk attached to living alone. This doesn't mean that men don't go through the same experience finding fulfillment living alone. Solo living writer Michael Newbold explored the experience of men in an article, Do Men Find It Harder to Live Alone? 6. Share your home on your terms. Living alone doesn't mean always being alone, and so it stands to reason that you will want to share your home with friends and loved ones, but on your terms. Hand picking guests and inviting people when you choose are all freedoms you can control at your own pace. Be sure, though, not to leave yourself with an open door policy. For our coupled up friends and family members, they can easily be mistaken thinking that anyone living on their own is happy for any company at any time. This can lead to people assuming it's okay to just turn up and unannounced because why wouldn't you want the company? This isn't necessarily something that people do on purpose, but be sure to nip it in the bud if you notice it happening, otherwise, it will get more difficult to address. Financial independence. Not everyone will take this one fully on board. Basically, it means that you are financially free as well as in control. What you bring home is yours with no need to share or distribute anywhere else other than your own choosing. Financial independence is something many people crave, and yet with living alone, it is kind of given, which is a reason to be thankful, honest. Admittingly, living in on your own doesn't always come with the same perks that couples are given. Kraya Madel found that when looking at the question is the cost of living higher when you live alone, it could be said the decision to live alone is not the driven by money, not one driven by money, however, being completely in control of how your hard earned cash is spent with no arguments about how much to turn the heating up or who left the light on in the bathroom again is definitely inviting. 6. 8. Active independence. You would be forgiven for thinking we are already touched on this, but actually, what you mean here isn't about doing things on your own. Living alone gives you what freedom of that freedom, of course, but it also brings with it the ability to be actively independent. Anyone can be independent, even when living as a couple, but living alone brings with it authentic independence and self discipline like nothing else. These elements go some way to helping find your authentic self, discovering the version of you that you are most happy and comfortable with a journey like no other, regardless of how you choose to live your life. Coming out the other side will bring with it a greater level of contentment and independence. Once you have found what you need to be happy and with yourself, it will naturally open you up for more meaningful connections with other people. 9. Pursue what you are passionate about. When living with other people, there tends to be stuff that gets in the way. Living alone not only gives you an unparalleled level of freedom, but it also gives you the time to focus on what you really want to do. What's great about living alone is that it gives you confidence that you can do it. It starts small, hanging your first picture without help or getting through a month from with a few pounds left in the bank, but knowing you cover everything you need it. Then it begins to grow, you become braver, the voice in your head starts to change from you can't do that to I bet you could do that. This development of self-confidence doesn't mean you master passions any faster or better than anyone else. What it does mean though is you feel more confident about taking the first step, braving the uncertainty and being okay with some vulnerability. Mickey explored this in more depth when writing about her first solo travel experience in her piece Traveling Solo Isn't Lonely. Great social life. Living alone doesn't mean being a recluse. Many solos report having a better social life and a great network to draw upon because of living solo, not despite living alone. Having a fulfilling social life doesn't always depend on the amount of friendships you have, but on the quality of the time spent with friends. Many of the points we have already covered set out why living alone can be good and feed into explaining why solos may have a better social life. If you are content and happy in who you are as a person and can be alone, then seeing finds friends isn't about filling in someone some time. It's about spending meaningful time with people you care about and who care about you. As a result, you will be more present and engaged in what you do with your friends, from actively listening to you, really enjoying the moment, as well and thoroughly enjoying a social life, exploring your passions and taking on new habits. Hobbies opens up new possibilities to your social life. Being in charge of your own time and how you spend it more means you can sign up for classes or groups that allow you to spend time doing something you love and meet like minded people at the same time.